Dear viewers, as you know that because of this COVID-19 problem, the education sector is suffering very badly. We are all worried about the health of the students. School buildings are closed, though the online education is going on. All the teachers, principals, managements, as well as the parents are very worried about the future of their children. Will they be ever able to go back to schools? This is the big question for which all of us are finding the answers. So I have decided to talk to some very knowledgeable principals who are very experienced at their job and ask them about their preparation regarding reopening of the schools and the precautions which they are going to take in case in near future the students return back to school. So I have named this series as Principals Ke Man Ki Baat, and the very first person I am going to interview is Mrs. Archana Gaba, who is the principal of St. Kabir Gurukul CBSE affiliated English medium school, situated at a very remote place in a village at around 12 kilometers away from Indo-Pak border at Jalalabad. Ma'am has got vast experience of 20 plus years in the field of education and is the very right person to begin this series of interviews. So let me ask the questions and know what are the answers she has to give to us. So my very first question is,
good morning, Rasik sir, and everybody who's watching this. I must say that you have started with the trickiest question first. It was never my decision to be a school leader. I was very happy working as assistant professor in a college and teaching English literature to my students. But somehow destiny had it, and I was convinced to be the founder principal of an upcoming school in our town. Few weeks in, and I realized that this is where I want to be for the rest of my life. Hurdles is not a word I would want to use, because hurdle is something that can stop us, and I aspire to be unstoppable. But yes, there are a few challenges that I'm sure every school leader has to face on day-to-day basis. Major being too little time and too many people that we have to deal with, parents, students, and so many other stakeholders, our team. And then these people with their frictions, with their confusion and their performance issues. So this is my list of challenges for which I feel that I have to be really very proactive, really very ready, and in training to handle. Sir, I have not achieved that level of perfection yet. I want to do so much every day, and as a school leader, I'm sure you agree with me that we have to do so much every day, every year, that doing everything has not been possible so far. But still, just to keep it organized, what I do is I prepare a not to do list. Say that we prepare to-do list, but I prepare what I will not be doing on my days, so that I can do what needs to be done, one thing. And secondly, while prioritizing, the first thing that I keep in front of me is my vision for this institute, for the school, for education in general. So I read my vision every day and I prepare my not to do list based on that. For online education, sir, we are still using the very basic method, because I'm sure you know that this school is in tier 3 city. It's a small town and it's a rural area. So people do not have, all the parents do not have access to a good quality smartphone. So, conducting video lessons, online lessons have been an issue with us. So we are using WhatsApp for that matter till now, or our school app. Like our teachers send pre-recorded video lectures to the students, and then we prepare, the notes and the worksheets. So that way we have been coordinating with students. Then weekly we arrange, problem solving sessions with them on Zoom, of course. But I have seen that, less than half of our students have been able to connect with us so far on Zoom. But now everybody is very much there on WhatsApp. Like many of the parents informed me that they have bought a smartphone now for the kid. Secondly, I feel this is something which should not be imposed on the parents at such times, especially the parents where, from tier 3 cities, because most of them are not really earning very well, and they have, say, 1 or max 2 smartphones at home, like for mom and dad. So if the kids will have classes the whole day, the parent will have to leave their phone with the kids only. So that will definitely hinder their work. So I believe that maybe in India we are not yet ready for the proper online teaching. But yes, just to keep the students engaged. See, I believe education does not happen always when students are given some content or some orders to be engaged in. These are the times when we can prepare our students to be self-learner. And what as a teacher, as an educator, we can do is just to keep giving them those motivational nudges and opportunities to explore. So sometimes I do sessions with my kids, and I just throw some questions at them. Say, what if we all could prepare our food by photosynthesis, and what if water had colors? So it was not transparent. So imagine and think of what will happen differently, and they do send me the solution. So they definitely do the search to find answers to these tricky but interesting questions. So I'm not on that we have to somehow finish that curriculum and everything. Yes, that would be part of it. We cannot avoid that, we cannot shirk that, but still I believe this is the time which I want to utilize in a better way, because I'll not be getting it often, hopefully, but at the same time this is required. Successful, it's too early to say anything about this because we are still in the initial phase of doing this. Many of the schools had not yet announced the results even, so they waited for the lockdown to be over, and they have started, say, 20 days or 25 days before. But so I'm not sure whether it will be a successful mode or not. But one thing that I want to be sure of is that it should not be stressful. There is no need to stress our students because of education. Education is never about that. Education is about untying the knots in your heart and mind. But if we are adding to the stress already prevailing because of this corona situation, then I would not call it education in the real sense of the word. Secondly, about this being successful, many things matter. And so I would counter this question by another question, that would you say that our education, even when it was offline, even when it was in school, has been successful? Because whatever challenges were there then, undertrained teachers, confused or I would say complacent or indifferent parents, and the system which is focusing on, which has been focusing on rote learning since ever. So if it was successful then, only then we need to think whether it will be successful this way or not. But yes, at the same time, I do not undermine the importance of online learning at all. Even before the pandemic, I'm sure you'll agree with me that most of our schools were thinking this to be the next thing. We were preparing for it. That we have to go online, and we need to give some our students some support beyond the school building and beyond the school hours also. So I do not undermine it, but what I feel is that for this to be successful, we need the same things that we needed for the offline in-school education experience, and the infrastructure, the good speed of internet, and a very good adaptation rate from the teachers and parents both. This thing without parent being involved will just not work. It will backfire for sure. That is something that I can foresee. Schools were never closed. School can never be closed. Building can be closed, and building can open any time, like whenever the government thinks that this is safe and we have to open as per their orders. I mean, we cannot keep it closed when the government decides that it is time to open it, and we cannot open if if they don't allow us to. But school is open. Learning can never stop, and that is how it should be. And other than this, we must use this time. All the stakeholders in our education system and education scenario, we must utilize this time to open our minds to new ways of doing this, so that we can continue the schooling beyond walls, beyond the infrastructure. Post-COVID scenario, I've been preparing an SOP. I have gone through the advisory issued by WHO and also by our own government. So we are preparing an SOP for that, and for sure social distancing will have to be taken care of, regular sanitization, and the most important is creating as much awareness as possible among the students, among the teachers, and all people who will be there in the school system, to make sure that from any corner any mistake should not happen. But everyone has to be on their alert best to tackle this situation. So yes, preparations will be done accordingly once it is announced that from this day the regular offline classes inside the school buildings will start. But my suggestion would be that for now online teaching should happen in a way, we can call it a combination of online and offline, and that would be an ideal combination in any situation, not only during pandemic only. And I believe this is going to be our next benchmark, for every school to be equipped with both styles of teaching, online and offline. All right, I'm kind of diverting from the main point. So as I said, we need to sanitize each and everything in our campus that our students will be using. It would be great if government can help us in getting those sanitizing cabins at the gate. I don't know if they're available in India easily, but ideally they should be, and that would be a good investment for every school leader, for every school. And then social distancing, as I said. So my suggestion is that only 2 or 3 classes per day. So that way, say for 2 days, one class turns up in the school, where the teacher can guide them how to take maximum advantage from their video lessons and their online classes, and same way the assessments can be done the next week, so that students, teachers and parents, everybody are on the same page, there is no confusion. And because of the lack of infrastructure, no student leaves behind. I guess though I have answered this question already, that now teaching online is kind of another benchmark for us schools to achieve. So online and offline, both ways the teaching would happen. We shall not be able to gather all our students in our campuses. We'll have to, I guess, call them turnwise so that proper distancing can be maintained. So it would be a combination of both online and offline and self-learning. This is how I look at it. Yes, impact will be there, short term as well as long term. There is no denying this. But how much, that is a point to ponder. There may not be much effect. Why? Because not everyone will change. Some people will just get through it, right? As they go through every vacation they get. But some people, some industries, some areas of our lives, our world will definitely go through a transformation for sure. I can foresee that based on my experience. So I believe that this is the time about which we say that the survival will be of the fittest only. Only the fittest will survive. Whether we talk about the teachers who are ready to adapt, to change themselves, to equip themselves with the skills as per the changing times, whether we talk about school leaders who have to be really very open in not only adopting but embracing the change wholeheartedly, or if we talk about parents who now must realize that there is no way they cannot in any way impact their child's life or give them good education unless until they themselves are not an active part of it. And for other industries and for other things also, I believe progressive thinking, having a global outlook will not be optional anymore. Okay, learning the usage, correct and optimum usage of technology will not be a choice and option anymore. We shall have to do it. I mean, it will not be an option. We will have to do it. And I just pray that we, the educators especially, and the parents come out of this adversity wiser and better. Advice to parents and students. Okay, so it would be my suggestion, not advice to all, not only parents and students but teachers also, that every teacher should try to develop the qualities in themselves which they want the parent to have, and every parent should try to develop the qualities in them which they want their child's teacher to have. All right, I don't have to talk about what qualities we are talking about. I'm sure all the parents and teachers do understand that, but just to name a few is like every teacher wants that the parent should be involved in what their child is doing. And if the child is not doing anything as per their expectations, they should not seek somebody to put the blame on. Rather they should jump in the action and help their child to do that. So I want the teacher also to think on the same lines, that they should not think that as a whole class, fine, this is my result and I'm done, it's okay, 4, 5 or say 6 students out of 30 are not doing well. They should start thinking of every child under their care as their parent would think. And as every parent wants that the teacher should give individual attention to their kid despite all the work and all the challenges that they have. A teacher has so much work to do, but that's her job, and she must pay attention to not only how my child studies, but even if he or she eats properly in the school or not, even if he or she watches a lot of TV at home, okay, and everything that the parents expect. I just want them to learn all this doing themselves too, just like they expect their teacher to do. So this is one suggestion that I really wanted to give. Other than this, what I want to say to students now is that, dear children, maybe we grown-ups we may, I don't know about the coming time, but just a thought I'm sharing with you, that we may be able to write this year off as a 0 year, okay? But you are in your formative years. These are the years which are the foundation for your life to come. So it will not be easy for you to write it off. Every day which is passing, every 14, 15 waking hours that are being passed at home by you, please make them count. And you do not have to stress yourself only about the curriculum or about the studies only. Just improve any one major aspect of your life. It can be your health, it can be your relations within the family, with your friends, with your relatives. It can be your learning to be self-dependent in everything, in learning, in other things. And otherwise, this is one thing that I always teach my students: learn to teach. Okay, you guys are more tech savvy than we adults are at this time. You know the technology better, so why don't you teach us how to use that technology to its optimum? Learn it and teach it, and be our teachers, be your parents' teachers, and be a better team at learning how to cope up with life in these times which are so unprecedented and at the same time so confusing. We don't know what's going to happen next. So the preparation will involve the best of everything that we can do at this point of time. And other than this, one more thing that I want to say is that in every adversity, one learning that has always emerged is that the whole humanity is connected with each other. Though social distancing is there, but let us not make it mental or psychological distancing it at all. ये ना हो कि इसके बाद हम लोगों से, रिश्तों से, करीबी से डरना शुरू हो जाएं. Let us look at it as one phase which came, which taught us a lot many things, and then it passed. तो इसको गुजरने देना है हमने, इसकी लर्निंग्स को साथ में रखना है, इस फेज़ को अपने कंधों पे उठा के नहीं रखना है. Because this is how I want to conclude this interview also today, sir, if you will allow me. हमें जितनी भी आजमाइशें ज़िंदगी में मिलती हैं, जो पहाड़ मिलते हैं हमें, वो पहाड़ चढ़ने के लिए मिलते हैं ताकि हम उन पे चढ़ें. एक तो ये कि उससे हमारी स्ट्रेंथ और बढ़ती है, और दूसरा ये कि हमें एक सेंस ऑफ अचीवमेंट हो, हम अपने आप के बारे में खुश महसूस कर पाएँ. लेकिन होता क्या है, हम में से ज़्यादातर लोग उस पहाड़ को ज़िंदगी भर अपने कंधे पर ढोते रहते हैं, थकते रहते हैं और वेट करते रहते हैं फॉर दिस ब्यूटीफुल जर्नी टू बी ओवर, जब वो इस पहाड़ को उतार के रख पाएँ. एंड दे जस्ट मिस इट, दे मिस द ब्यूटी ऑफ दिस task. So this is what I want to say today, that let us learn from it and let us move on. Thank you.